Make this slant goes down. This is in my eyes. Thank you for that. You know how to slant it. Not down, but just the top. Jai. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bajirana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bajirana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Bajirana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajigacharya Asasata Shishi Mad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajigacharya Asasata Shishi Mad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnav Indaki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sekaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Yamuna Devi Ki Ganga Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Vrindavan Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Sankirtan Yogya Ki Gaur Premanandi all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. Today we will be discussing Sri Damodar Leela, since this is the month of Kartik, and just so that we can hear about Mother Yashoda and baby Krishna, and perhaps I'll read the Bala Stuti first, so that will encourage us to be very attentive. So first of all, hold on. Om Gyana Timarandasya Gyanandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So, by hearing, speaking, and remembering Damodar Leela, practitioners are insulated from material contamination, absolved of past deeds, and freed of the tendency to sin. Moreover, devotees vibrating those pastimes disarm the power of Kali Yuga and dispel the sufferings of conditioned souls. Thus, sadhakas benefit themselves as well as others. Okay, so we'll just chant rather briefly. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 9, Texts 1 and 2. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ekada Grihadasisu Yashodananda Gehini Karmantarani Yuktasu Nirmamanta Swayam Dati Yani Yata Gitan Yani Yan Iha Gitani Tadbala Charitani Cha Tadi Nirmantane Kale Smaranti Tanyan Agayata. Please chant. This is. Take a talk to Sisu. Kashu. Yamamanta Sadaki. Nantane. Kishuka Uvacha. Dehi Armananda Sinasu Mamanta Sayapati. Auntie, ladies. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Sishu. Dehi Almana Nisasu. Nirmamanta Swayam Dadi Niyani Hadgitani Tadbala Charitani Cha Tadai Medam Tade Tale Maranti Tanyagayata Sri Shuka Uvacha. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, Ekada, one day, Grihadadishu, when all the maidservants of the household were otherwise engaged, Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Gehini, the queen of Nanda Maharaj, Karma Antara, in other household affairs, Niyuktasu, being engaged, Nirmamanta, churned, Swayam, personally, Dadi, the yogurt, Yani, all such, Yani, such, Iha, in this connection, Gitani, songs, Tatbala Charitani, in which the activities of her own child were enacted, in which the Cha and Dadi Nirmantane, while churning the yogurt, Kale, at that time, Smaranti, remembering, Tani, all of them, in the form of songs, Agayata, chanted. Translation, Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, one day when Mother Yashoda saw that all the maidservants were engaged in other household affairs, she personally began to churn the yogurt. While churning, she remembered the childish pastimes, childish activities of Krishna, and in her own way she composed songs and enjoyed singing to herself all about those activities. Please read together. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, one day when Mother Yashoda saw that all the maidservants were engaged in other household affairs, she personally began to churn the yogurt. While churning, she remembered the childish activities of Krishna, and in her own way, she composed songs and enjoyed singing to herself about all those activities. Purport by the disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta. Oh, 10th Canto, Chapter 9. Oh, good. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada translated up till Chapter 13 of the 10th Canto. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, quoting from the Vaishnav Toshini of Srila Sanatana Goswami, says that the incident of Krishna's breaking the pot of yogurt and being bound by Mother Yashoda took place on the Deepavali day or Deepa Malika. Even today in India, this festival is generally celebrated very gorgeously in the month of Kartik by fireworks and lights, especially in Bombay. It is to be understood that among all the cows of Nanda Maharaj, several of Mother Yashoda's cows ate only grasses so flavorful that the grasses would automatically flavor the milk. Mother Yashoda wanted to collect the milk from these cows, make it into yogurt, and churn it into butter personally, since she thought that this child Krishna was going to the houses of neighborhood gopas and gopis to steal butter because he did not like the milk and yogurt ordinarily prepared. While churning the butter, Mother Yashoda was singing about the childhood activities of Krishna. It was formerly a custom that if one wanted to remember something constantly, he would transform it into poetry or have this done by a professional poet. It appears that Mother Yashoda did not want to forget Krishna's activities at any time. Therefore, she poeticized all of Krishna's childhood activities, such as the killing of Putana, Aghasura, Shatakasura, and Trinavarta. And while churning the butter, she sung about these activities in poetical form. This should be the practice of persons eager to remain Krishna conscious 24 hours a day. This incident shows how Krishna conscious Mother Yashoda was. To stay in Krishna consciousness, we should follow such persons. Jai. So, as is mentioned, that there were professional poets, and the professional poets, they would, every day, they would recount Krishna's pastimes, because every day he engaged in new pastimes, killing new demons, and they would put it into poetry and sing it. But here, Mother Yashoda, she's saying, why should they do it? You know, how do they know? They don't really know Krishna like I know Krishna. I know Krishna the best, so I will make my own songs. And she was singing all about his various activities. And as she was churning, she was so much absorbed in this activity of churning. And remember, it was Deepavali Day, so it was very unusual that she was the only one home with baby Krishna. She had one servant, Sundari, and she had many servants, but on this particular day, everyone except one servant stayed behind to just help her get ready and just help her like get set up for the churning. And so she was thinking how special it was that today I get to be all alone with Krishna. And Krishna was thinking how special this is, because he was actually still sleeping, and he orchestrated this whole pastime, because this pastime that will unfold, it could not have occurred if there were others present, especially Nanda and Rohini and Balaram. If they were present, it couldn't have happened. So as she's singing, she's very much absorbed, like just in trance, remembering Krishna's activities. And he was sleeping, and she had her churning pot so that she could peek into the bedroom to make sure he was still sleeping from time to time. And what happened was he woke up, but at the churning, it was that beautiful clay pot, but this was special, her favorite pot, with painting on it and jewels that were studded into the pot. And the rod, it was banging against the pot, and it sounded like mridanga, you know, like the wood. And then her bangles, that was like kartals accompanying her singing. So she couldn't hear Krishna. Now at nighttime, you know, she's always feeding Krishna many times a day, like right before he goes to bed, she brings him kheer. And he said, Mata, we just had dinner not that long ago. I'm really full. No, the night is long. You have to eat something. You'll get hungry in the night. So she makes him eat something. And then she even puts at his bedside table some prasadam for the morning. But he wakes up and he is not interested in those milk sweets. He wants only his mother's milk and his mother's affection. But he's calling her, Mata, Mata. And although it's a bed that's low to the floor, easy to get off of, but he's calling, but she cannot hear him because of the sound of the churning, and she's just swish, swish, and singing all these songs. So then finally he realizes, okay, she's not coming. So he lays on his stomach, puts his feet on the floor, and walks to her. And meanwhile, he's crying. Tears are streaming down his face. And she sees him, and she's still churning. She said, oh, my darling Krishna, what's the matter? Why are you crying? He said, I'm crying because I'm hungry and I'm angry. Oh, okay, you're hungry. You want some breast milk? So first, you know, he puts his his right hand, he grabs her sari, and then he grabs the rod with his other hand to stop it. He's there, stop churning. I'm hungry right now. Okay, but why are you angry? I'm angry because you didn't come. When I called you, you didn't come. So she's very happy to stop her churning and to sit. She was sitting on a chokey, like a low seat, and she just was feeding him and just like so enamored by the beauty of his face. And she's like, why, I've never noticed, like it's always increasing, how he looks more beautiful than he's ever looked before. And he's glancing up at his mother, and such very deep, loving exchange. He's thinking, why would I ever want anything else but this? And there's a spider coming down. Whoops, coming down from the top. See it? It's right there. It's on the string. Came down. But anyway, so he's drinking, and meanwhile, the servant girl had put the wood on the stove, but she put too much wood. So Yashoda sees, that the milk is starting to boil over. And this is a wood stove. If you have a gas stove, you just turn the flame off right away and it will go down. But with a wood stove and a lot of wood, you can't quell the flame very easily. So she has to get that pot off of the stove. It's also described because in the spiritual realm, everything is conscious. The milk is conscious, and the milk's like, why Krishna's just drinking the breast milk and he doesn't want our milk? We may as well give up our life, and starts just boiling over. But she's there, Krishna, I'll be right back. She said when she left, you watch the pot while I go. And she puts him down, and he's really angry now. And she's there, don't worry, I'll be back soon. It's a huge mess. And she has to take the pot off the stove, and she's like, that silly servant girl, how she put too much wood. And then Krishna's thinking, how dare she? First she makes me wait when I'm calling her. She doesn't come. And then finally, I get like just a little sip of milk, and she puts me down, and like he was really irate. And then he thought, I know what I'm going to do. He remembered the day before, like young children, especially boys, I guess they like to pick up rocks and put them in their pockets. But he had rocks from the day before, and they were in the corner. And so he went and got one of the sharpest rocks, almost like an arrowhead, and then he just thought to break the pot. And he hit once and saw that Yashoda didn't hear him. Then again, and then again. And this time it split right in half. The pot split, and everything came pouring out. Like somehow, it says they churned yogurt. They used to make yogurt, and then the next day that yogurt would be used to churn into butter. So not exactly sure unless it's mixed with cream as well. But it was still liquidy because Yashoda was churning. It hadn't turned into butter. So it flowed all over the floor, which means there was nothing left in the pot because the pot broke in half. And so then Krishna was really upset. Now I can't even eat this butter because it's all over the floor, this yogurt, really. And then he thought, what's going to happen when Yashoda comes back? Plus, I'm going to be in trouble, but plus I'm still hungry. So he knew that there is a grain room that was kept locked, a storeroom, like we have a grain shed here. And he said, I know where the key is, in her almirah. And he tiptoed in there, past the kitchen, and he got the key. And meanwhile, everywhere are his footprints of this yogurt, everywhere he walks. And then he goes into that storeroom. Now it was dark, but he summoned his effulgence to brighten up the room. And then he could see, besides all the grains that were there, all the pots were hanging on the from the ceiling. And so he got a mortar and he got butter, and he was very happy to be eating that butter. And then also he thought to share it with the monkeys, and so he was like in the storeroom. There were no monkeys, but he actually took butter down to the courtyard, which was down some steps, and there was a courtyard there, and there he was also sitting on a mortar and feeding the monkeys. He allowed them to come in because these monkeys were his great servants in Ram Lila that helped build the bridge to Lanka. So he had great affection for them, and he was like just absorbed in the happiness of eating butter and feeding butter. And then meanwhile, Yashoda Devi comes out of the kitchen. She said, "I'm sorry, I know I said I would just be a moment. It's taken a little bit longer, but I'm coming now. I'll be right there." And then she sees this huge mess and no Krishna and just footprints. And so she's like, oh no. So then she follows the footprints. And remember, why, like as was mentioned in this purport, a little side note, like this butter and this milk was so special because Yashoda thought, he's always stealing from other people's houses. Why? What's the matter with our dairy, with our milk and our butter, our yogurt? What's the matter with it? So Nanda Maharaj, he somehow got celestial cows, like about 7 cows that were very, very special, high quality cows. And then they farmed a special pasture just for these cows. So, because this grass, it was mentioned here, so aromatic. And there was one cow named Padma Ganda, and her milk, it smelled like lotus flowers. It was so aromatic. So there's this very special dairy for Krishna, so that he wouldn't go stealing. He would be happy with his best milk. Even the celestials were anxious to taste this milk and these dairy products. So now she realizes what Krishna has done, and she sneaks down. And Nanda Maharaj, he had gone out. Everyone's out preparing for the Deepavali festival, even though this year Sunanda, his younger brother, would be in charge of it. He usually was. But so they go, and she sees he left his walking stick. And so she takes that, and she sneaks downstairs, and Krishna has her back to him, but the monkeys see her, and they screech, and they all turn around and start running. So that's Krishna's cue. And then he also turns around and starts running. And then this is the whole chase, and this is how we meditate on this pastime of Krishna. And Yashoda, she, the flowers are falling out of her hair. She's perspiring, and Krishna's faster than her because he's only 3 years old, and yet he can run very fast. And because she has a lot more weight to carry, and then she's running, and she's there. Stop, you rascal! Stop right now! And he's like, no, I didn't do anything. Why are you running away then? What do you mean you didn't do anything? The whole pot is broken. And he said, when you walked by, you hit it with your ankle bells and you broke the pot. And she said, you better stop. And he said, no, not with that stick. Put that stick down. Because she's carrying the stick. And she's there, you better come here. You are like, you must have inherited, like from your father's side of the family, there's some ominous planets, and you must come under their influence. How can you be such a rascal? And also, you're just, you act just like the monkeys. You always are hanging around with the monkeys, and you act like them as well. And he said, well, then maybe I should go to the forest and live with the monkeys then. Meanwhile, they're talking while they're running. And then, and she's kept, like he was insulted by her insinuating that he was like a monkey. And so finally, you know, how they're running, and then Krishna sees, you know, there's nobody's around except there's guards at the gate, at the main gate. There's 2 guards there. And he said, I know, I'm going to run outside because there's people, some people will be out on the street outside the compound. And in front of the guard, she's not going to beat me. She's not going to do anything in front of other people. And so he runs outside, and lo and behold, there was even a grinding mortar out there. But you know, also when he was thinking, why did Rohini go today? If Rohini was here, my mother would never do this. She would protect me. And although he orchestrated, he even told Balaram, you should go with your mother. They're all going to Upananda's house for the Diwali celebration to get things going. So you go too. So he really wanted it, but now he's complaining that now she, you know, others are not here to protect me. But, you know, like, so nobody's seeing except the creatures, you know, the birds. The birds are all talking. Everyone's conscious, and they're talking. What's going on? Is Krishna really afraid? We know that he's fear personified, and even, fear personified is afraid of Krishna. So how can he be afraid? The Supreme Lord, you know, the most powerful, whom we all take shelter of. How is it that he can be afraid? And they're there. I don't think he's really afraid. They're debating. I think that he's just pretending. They're like, no, he wouldn't be. If he was pretending, he'd want to do it to show other people. But he's not. He really, really is afraid, because Krishna's controlled by his devotees. And so finally, Mother Yashoda, he says, I'll allow her because she can't catch him. As much as she's running, she finally catches him and said, now you'll learn your lesson, because he allowed her to catch him. And she said, you stay right here, because I don't want you running into the forest with those monkeys. And so she asked somebody to get her rope. And now I guess there were other gopis appeared on the scene, elderly gopis. And then we know the whole story, how she ties up Krishna and the rope is 2 fingers too short. So she said, can you go get more rope? More rope in her storeroom, in her home. They brought the rope. And then we need more rope. We need more rope. We need more rope. And then everybody got rope from their home, and still it was always 2 fingers too short, because Krishna, Krishna desired, like he didn't allow it to happen. And in spite of all of her endeavor, only when he allowed it, then finally he felt mercy.